In time, you will know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you are right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it, run from it, but destiny still arrives. All the things that you guys have been doing, you writers and everything, you've been slowly destroying the comic book industry. And you keep saying no, no, it's because of what's going on. No, the sales have been down. IDW, for example, has been in arrears. Multiple companies been in arrears. You haven't been making as much money because you've been pushing the agenda instead of pushing the story. And you could be making so much more money if you stop disrespecting your fans. But let's continue. This is the Geek Verse create comic book series I'm doing as part of my Geek Verse series. But I'm focusing first on the creators because I'm more of a comic book guy. Couldn't tell. All right, so Ta-Nehisi Coates, writer of Black Panther. Black Panther and the Crew, Water Dance fiction novel. And it did look interesting. I was actually interested in it. I was piqued. And he's also working on a screenplay with Michael B. Jordan. And he's starting Captain America. So then I come across this, and I was just trying to learn more about the man because I was like, I do try to support black writers. As a matter of fact, there's a guy who I'm pretty cool with, and when I get my writing back on, he's probably going to tear my writing up because I'm so sporadic. But Night Seeker, okay. Remember that when I review that book, because I actually have all three of the books. Well, I gave one away, so I'm about to get another one. But I'm gonna have my shirt on everything. Night Seeker is my stuff. I got the comics assigned, but they're away in a special place. So sorry, I'm not breaking those out. I have a few things, but yeah, when I review Night Seeker, I really like that story. I got to reread the second book again to make sure I get everything down. But anyway, so Ta-Nehisi Coates called 9, September 11, responders menaces of nature, and I'm paraphrasing. He was going to speak at West Point in 2017, but he called the people who were helping with the disaster and the attack menaces. This was from his book. He stood on a rooftop. The country deserved it as the people helping in the rubble were pretty much trashed him. His heart grew cold. It was like a thing he wrote to his son, and he's like, I remember this race thing here, and I remember all the black and all this, and we deserve it. And I'm like, or America deserves it. I'm like, dude, those people were innocent. They didn't do that to your ancestors, and how dare you say that about them? Like we deserve it because of what something happened that happened hundreds of years ago that did not happen to you. And I'm sick and tired of my brothers and sisters holding on so tight to the past. You got to hold it, but not that tight. Because what happens is that you start to close yourself off of the other things. Not saying you should forget, not saying you should write it off, but you can't live your life with every single thing being because of racism and because of things that happened 400 years ago. You got to be more aware of now because it's a lot more hidden and it still gets you. But you can't sit there and say a disaster is deserved when not just Caucasian, but all different types of people got killed. But anyway, uh, it's like, and then Marvel hires this guy who says all this stuff about that time and is terrible to write Captain America. Like freaking Captain America, really? At first, when I heard about Ta-Nehisi, I was very proud of the brother. I was like, oh man, Black guy's really coming up. He was writing and he kind of popped on the scene. And I seen some of his Black Panther and I read a little. I'm like, this ain't bad. Okay, let me see what this guy's about. And then I see that. And I just look at that like, how can you say that about American tragedy? How can you hear the screams, see the buildings, look at the lives, watching it? I remember watching it on TV and stuff, and I wasn't far, far away. I was not. But you're just sitting there going, yeah, America, get that. Like, are you nuts? People were dying. People were suffering. People were hurting. How dare you? And you get to have the dream job that a lot of people want, but you don't even apologize. Like, that's terrible. It's a tragedy, and it's a stupid attack. It was a mean attack. It was horrible, and you're a terrible person for that. Now, I'm not saying you're a terrible human being, but as your opinion when it comes to that and how race relations work, you're terrible. Sorry, Ta-Nehisi. You are. And it's kind of coming to my attention where I'm like, so why the hell are you writing Captain America also? If you don't like America so much, why are you writing about it? A guy who embodies it. He's probably going to put those politics in there. And I was going to buy your Black Panther trades. I was. And I was actually excited originally for your Captain America. But there's a line that I have. And one of those lines is you say bad things about the September 11th situation. In the sense that that kind of disrespect, I'm sorry. I have to bump you. You're horrible. Your books need to be done. You shouldn't even have a job. That's just terrible. That's a horrible thing, and you're a terrible person for saying that. It just is. You should never disrespect that. Which that leads me into Aubrey Stitterson. He was going to do Scarlet G.I. Joe story. So I was curious about this guy. And I heard about a book about no more fights left. And it was like based off of like ideas of Dragon Ball and stuff like that. Like, this looked pretty cool. Then I got to know who he was. And also I like Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Flint, Duke, different characters. So Dr. Spectre, among some others, he did work. He did work on Scarlet, Dr. Spectre, and some of the other work DC and Marvel. So G.I. Joe writer is stating that people basically shouldn't be able to mourn September 11th. That's pretty much what he's saying. Because they weren't in the area. Yeah. So when people want to ask questions for someone who experiences it, they seem offended. Now, between the lovely biased named calling that he did, and yet can't see they're guilty. And when I mean by the lovely biased name callers, I'm talking about basically things like the Mary Sue. And particularly Teresa Giacchino, who's all about what he was saying. It was like, you're all terrible and istophobes because you don't get it. He's right. I was in New York. He's right. New York is the only ones that get to suffer. New York's the only one that gets to mourn it. You don't get to mourn it. Like, what? Okay. Then he had, as her and her friends decided to call the people who didn't like it the vocal minority. Uh, and minority fans for that because he was supposed to get a departure. No, don't listen to these people. Are you mental? You said terrible things about a terrible American tragedy and you called people out on it. And if people didn't have any connection beyond the fact that they're a red blooded American, you were like, no, not good enough? Who the heck are you? Punch yourself in the face 3 times. And then after you're done, punch yourself in the face again. And there's a reason why I say that and the reason why it agitates me and why you're getting these verbs. So, and anyone who supports him, like with his ideals, not his money. If you want to buy his comic, that's fine. But if you support his ideals, punch yourself in the face too. So New York got hit because it was, the East Coast, but initially, especially in New York. But the United States did feel the aftermath of that horrible time. But to try to call people trolls because they had an issue with how he was bashing people and felt the effect, like basically he was bashing people for feeling the effect of the worst attack in U.S. soil history downright. Like, that's nuts. And it's irresponsible on his part. Like, that's just blatantly ignorant and blatantly trying to do it and abashed. And tell that to the worker who did that. What did you do? Oh, you just stood on the roof. You didn't go and help people. You didn't go do nothing. You were in shock. So you're sitting there talking trash about all these people when there's people who I know that left their state and people who didn't, who came over to help New York when all that things, because America came together. And how dare you and all the idiots that follow you, how dare you sit there and say that? You're pathetic for saying that. There are people who came to help New York when New York needed it because America needed it. And you, sir, I hope one day you get to watch this. I don't care. And any one of you can come at me. Everyone I'm talking to, you can come right at me. Because I'll shut it down. That's horrible. And the fact that you're sitting there, oh, well, you weren't in New York, you did it. That's like saying, oh, well, I have cancer. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you have cancer. You don't get to say I'm sorry because you don't understand what I feel like. No, punch yourself in the face. Let me find my place. And it is saying he's trying to say because of the effect of New York, like I said, but tornadoes affect places, so should we not care? In the Midwest, South gets hit with hurricanes. When these people happen, should we not care? Should we be like, well, it didn't happen to us, so we're fine? No. Disasters and bad things, people in America feel it and care. So you're an idiot. And him as a person, I've heard he's nice with people, but whatever. Your opinion about that day is terrible. Um, so it just came to his offense. They said they're vocal minority, but enough of them said. But funny enough people said something that you lost that job. Because when I mentioned something to my mom and my dad, they said they wouldn't read that because of what he said. It's ignorant. Whew, sorry, it was getting me fired up. But them getting fired, that means enough people came to say something. So no, that wasn't a vocal minority. And did hear something about swapping the G.I. Joe run. Oh, here we go. Here are the tweets from Mr. Aubrey Stevenson. And this, by the way, was on the anniversary of the date. He said, and I quote, "Oh God, it's self-centered national tragedy remembrance from people who weren't even anywhere near New York City Day." And then he puts, "I'm catching flack for this, but as a guy who stood in the streets of Lower Manhattan, where he lived and watched it all unfold, F you." And how are you? You know, and then I'm looking at Mary Sue, Brennan Ader, Bub, Andrew, Bub, Stove, Fox. All these people are defending him. So you all think it's okay to invalidate the American tragedy? Yet your response to this when people who aren't part of CG or any movement got offended by this, like myself, instead maybe thinking about the whole country mourning, you think, well, it only affected New York City. Everyone else is a poser. Like, what kind of junk is that? Everyone else is a poser for a tragedy? Moron? Dummy? You freaking piece of asphalt? Lunatic? Um, so basically, I had this as a note. The Twin Towers were one of our national treasures. People lost their lives. But you get to write G.I. Joe a real American hero. Too bad you're not one. Nowhere near one. Now, I just want to point out, I am an advocate for free speech, and saying things on your personal social media is up to you for what you want to say, and that's okay. But you do open yourself to scrutiny when you do it. And you can hurt a company's brand and your brand and the company you work for by doing this and saying crazy things. I just don't understand why is it not okay for people to mourn one of the worst days of US history? Like, honestly, dude, think beyond your face. And anyone who agrees with you, including Tanishi, think beyond your face. Because you're all ignorant, like, pieces of crap. And I will discuss with you if you want to about your warped viewpoint, too. You can come right at me, any one of you. I don't care. And I did hear that he has a book, No One Left to Fight. And it was, like I said, it's inspired by Dragon Ball. It's about the heroes at the end, and they beat everyone. It's like, what did they do? I heard it was good, but I'm never reading it. If you say anything about September 11th in a bad light, you're screwed by me. You're a piece of garbage, and I don't want to read anything you ever write. I'd rather stick a tack in my thumb and all my fingers than read your book for free. And if you give it to me for free, I would throw it in the trash, or I would just throw it. Maybe I'll sell it. Probably just throw it. I don't really want to throw stuff in the trash. I'll probably just throw it. Leave it for somebody else. Or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, he has no qualms about what he said. So it's like, well, what if people didn't lose a person or thing? Like I said, it's part of being an American. It's connected. But look, I do understand this part that yes, New York experienced it firsthand. I remember hearing this stuff myself. I'm not a New Yorker, but I remember hearing what was happening. But then to sit there and tell someone or ask them how dare they feel a tragic day in U.S. history, like what's wrong with you? And like I said, if someone is in remission of cancer and the other person is going through the treatment, both are still feeling the effects of cancer. So is the family and friends. Like, could you please be a better American? I'm done with that. All right, so let's see. I want to make sure I got Dan Slott here. Kelly Sue DeConnick. I have a weird thing with her. Hers is kind of long. And Tess Fowler, my buddy. the one who couldn't even hold a conversation with me as soon as I asked her questions about her weird things because it was feeling unsubstantiated. She immediately blocked me because she's a pathetic, weak person who should not be working in the industry anymore. And I don't want to always wish bad things on people, but I actually, the way you talk about people and what you've done to people, Tess Fowler, specifically you, and how I've seen you try to bash people when they get their come up. Every time someone gets their come up, you're the first one to sit there and say something about, oh, I told you about this person. I warned you about this person. I actually hope with everything going on, you specifically, I hope you don't get to work anymore, or you try to do your own independence, and maybe you can get your own little crew of people that love you and get your little cult following and pancake your bat out of here. Because the fact that I seen people legitimately ask you like, "Yo, what are you saying? That doesn't sound right. Like that doesn't make sense. Where is this? Where is this happening? Can I see it? You know, I can be there with you, but I want to see evidence." And then your response is blocking. That means you're a liar. So sorry, I don't believe you're any of the situations you talk about. People may not like what I have to say about that, or they might pull the believe women thing. I don't care. If you ignore people when they're trying to talk to you about the situations that you're accusing people of, there's Max Bemis, Tanika Scott. So there's a few more. But yeah, I don't believe you. I think you're a liar because you couldn't even hold the conversation or even back up anything you were saying. You're just trying. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get people fired so you can get into their spot. That's what a lot of you guys I've noticed is doing. You'll sit there and do your moral high road, but it's not because of that. You're hoping that when they fire them, enough people that you need your moral highest so you can get a job and you can get it come up. So no, I hope you don't work anymore. I don't wish that. You notice she's like the only person I said that about. Uh, Tanishi and the other one, I kind of feel that way too because you're talking bad about something. But she's done consistently things and consistently destroyed people's careers and consistently, purposefully try to hurt people. And from stories that I'm understanding, it was like if you walk up to her and be like, "Hey, you're very pretty," she's going to try to cancel you. From what I'm understanding, could be wrong, but that's how I seen it. But like I said, goddamn Slot, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Tess, Gabby Mamacita, oh, and that's about it. So I'll do the third part to this at another time. I'm doing them all separated. I just want to break up the videos, not make them too long. I'm sorry. There's going to be at least between 17 and 20 minutes. But this is the Geek Protagonist. Stay clean, stay straight, be up. I'm using the one side of my camera because I need to see certain things because I'm timing it. So sorry if you see things backwards, that's why. But you can see me pretty clearly. All right. And I'm also going to post actual nice things that people have said too, or at least one person particularly has said, because it makes me feel good. And then I'm going to finish off these. Then eventually I will focus on the fans. So, like I said, this is Geek Protagonist, and I'm signing off. See ya. Hey, thank you for visiting my channel. This is the Geek Protagonist. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss a video. And I try to post every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, give or take a day or two, But basically, I appreciate you coming here. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and taking the time out during these trying times to just see what a geek may have to say about some things. And I hope you enjoy yourself. Have a drink, do something, play a video game. There's a lot of them coming out. Waiting on my Final Fantasy VII because I won't get here yet. But we'll see. But definitely do something, enjoy yourself, and have a nice one.